Okay, I hear you, girl. Okay. All right, go see mama. Okay. All right, Sammy. Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. I'm here. Um, okay. Let's see what's going on here. We have a big guitar on here. How was it working with Ann Wilson on gasoline and matches? Hi there. Well, thank you. A big guitar. Um, What was it like with Ann Wilson? Well, I had worked with Ann Wilson for many years, at least quite a few years before I won the show. So the long and short of it, as I say, would be that my manager, Don McGreevy, at the time, back in my 20s, I'd say my mid to later 20s, somewhere around 27, I think, is when I started to go on different gigs with Heart, and they would call me. I think close to between 15 to 20 shows with them around the United States. And so when I won the show, of course, Anne and Nancy had sent me a bottle of scotch. Very nice of them, congratulating me on the win and asking me to go on tour with them, which I couldn't go on tour with them at the moment. And but I was doing that album, and while working on the album, Don was, who produced the album I was doing. What an honor to have him do that. God, that was so cool. He presented the song by Buddy and Judy Miller, and I never heard the song up to that point, and I thought it was a cool song. And I said, "But okay, who are you thinking?" He said, "Who are you thinking?" I said, he said, who have you always wanted to do a duet with?" And I just thought, man, Ann Wilson would be awesome for this. So Ann Wilson, he had called Ann Wilson's management, and she was right up the road in LA at the time recording albums. So she came over. And with all the gigs that I've opened for Heart on, I never really got to know Ann that well. I mean, you're just doing gigs, you go and you have your own dressing room and everything, but I'd say hello to her, and she was always very quiet, and I was always very intimidated around her. And so to even ask her to come and do this, I was still, even though I knew her, I was still very intimidated. And being in a studio with her, and yes, it was like the old school approach, man. It was we did it old school. We did it the real way. I mean, when Don set us up in the booth we were singing in, um, these days they isolate everything so much, including the singers and duets. But in this case, Don didn't care about the mics bleeding in. He put both me and Ann Wilson in the same booth, mic'd us up, and we were facing each other. And it was so cool. Um, to be able to sing. And man, I'm like, oh God, you better step up to the plate right now. This is one of those situations where it's got to be the right take. It's not anything we can go individually dub my vocals or hers. It has to be done right on the take. So I think we did the song probably about maybe I remember she wanted to start. She came in not knowing the song, by the way. She just walked in. I remember she just walked in, and she grabs the lyrics, and she's listening to the song, and then she's singing in a little part of it. Just I'm seeing this is Ann Wilson's like in front of me, just studying the song, and then she's like, "Yeah, let's do it." I'm trying my best. Just Michael, you know, it isn't real when you're in Hollywood and you're around people like this, it doesn't feel real. And even Don was spoke about that a lot, of how strange it is when you're in the room with all these people you grew up listening to and idolizing. And then she got in there, and we welded, and I just stood up to her the best I could. That's the best I could, man. And I didn't want to crack. That was my thing. I didn't want my voice to have a Brady Bunch moment right in front of her. That would have just crushed me. Anyway, that's my Ann Wilson story. Let's see. Yeah, I'm on here today by myself. I really didn't. I was talking to someone earlier, by the way. Hey, Renee, and and she was like, "Well, so who are you? Who do you have on today?" And I went, that's today. Well, I'll just get on here and say hello to everybody. How about that? And let you know I'm still alive and kicking, if anything. I needed to have some coffee before I did this, but let's see who else is on here. We got Rudy. How you doing, Rudy? I love you. And we got Renee, of course, and Aunt Rhonda. I love you, Aunt Rhonda. How you doing? Do you remember me? She says. Um, oh wow, okay, all right. Kathy. I'm going down the list here, guys. Thank you guys, everybody. Carol from Canada. Hope the weather's getting better up there. Let's see. Love Canada, but I can't stand the cold. I've been up there during the winters. You guys are crazy. Let's see. Hmm. What else is going on in my world? Not a whole lot, but I will say I'm keeping myself busy, keeping my mind active. That's important right now. I don't need to think too much. So, um, as far as any creative plans go, I am always in a creative state. I have to be. I don't know what that means. It's a weird thing to other people. To me, it's normal. Um, I have to I have to be and it's not a show off thing. It never was. Maybe it was a little when I was a kid. Aunt Rhonda would say, "Yeah, right." But I wanted to use something, and the music was a way for me to express myself. And it's not the only way, but it is the one that I have had more experience with, that's for sure. Still haven't perfected music. When it comes to my creative plans with music, I'm I might be writing some songs, and when I tell people I might be doing something, or if I'm on a project or anything, to me and for any artist, it just doesn't mean that we're going to have something out the door. And when that goes out, it's sort of to be expected, and people going, when? And that's what we expect from all the fans and people out there who want to know when you're going to do a new project. I am working on something, but it's something personal at this point, and it needs to be worked on, and as I'm doing and doctoring it in a way that only takes time to really get it right. And I don't think anything is ever really complete or right when it comes to creating something. um, you just have to get to a point where you go, okay, this is saying what it needs to say, and it's expressing, more importantly, that moment in my life, in that place and time, and that's the way I see art. And whenever that moment is gone, I tend to stamp it, say, okay, it's done for what it's worth. What is it worth? You guys buy it. If you like it, you like it. If not, you don't. And then for me, I just go on to the next thing. And I never really like going back and revisiting those things. Um, that's why it's difficult for me sometimes to maybe sing my originals, because it's not that I don't think they're bad or anything. I just have a weird, very it's hard to explain. That's why I say weird um feeling towards a lot of my music. It's just like the last album I did with the Red album. I called it the Red album because a lot of the songs that were on it were off of an album that was the color red, or a CD. I don't really call these albums collection of songs. Um and we called it that based on that being the album is not red, but then you see all these red, they're like 12 redheaded stepchildren. That's the way, and nothing wrong with the ginger community. Please do not cancel me out. Um, no, I'd call them my redheaded stepchildren because they're we all know that joke, and but that's what the songs are like to me sometimes. It's like revisiting or visiting just something that you just don't sometimes feel like it takes me back to the moment. And that's what songs do. Songs are meant to do that. And that's why you listen to them, at least if you think about it, a lot of times. And if it doesn't take you back, you're listening to it for another reason to express that emotion, like Samantha there. But that emotion is also what I tried sometimes to not tie myself to that song in that moment in time. Um, it's hard to explain. I don't mind singing my originals, but I just tend to stamp it, see it down, move on. And this is another moment, and it needs something to commemorate this moment. And I'm working on it at this moment. And when the moment comes, it'll be there for you all. And once it's out, then it's out. Then I can't do anything. So I have to make sure it's it's too it has some sort of conclusion to it that I'm satisfied enough with. I don't think satisfied would even be the word, but that's how it goes. And it's a struggle to write a song. And if anybody thinks it's not, please, if you have no problems writing a song out there, anybody, and I'm not talking about writing a poem, that's just one part of it. Come up with a melody, and then come up with a melody that'll go around chords and stuff, and that becomes those three basic elements right there. That's challenging. But when you spend a long time doing it, then it becomes some of those things become a little bit second nature, like walking, like playing a guitar for me is I don't have to so much look at my finger placements any longer, for I've been playing so long now. It's one of those things, right? So I don't need to really, I can hear it in my head in this case, what I can play on my guitar. So I don't necessarily have to go to my guitar. I can write it all out without going there, hearing it in my head. But it takes a lot of time to build that skill. And I still, when you get that in combination, it's still difficult. And then being like me, it takes a long time. Anyway, I work with the best writers and artists to collaborate with to help me in confirming in moments that what is true, because it's what an artist is really looking for. The technique of writing in Nashville and that whole thing, I try to get away from because it really is a technique. It's a beautiful thing. I'm not against the writing at Nashville writing. Man, that's an awesome way to write. But it's restricted, and to an artist, man, to me at least, I can't stay within that restriction, you know. But I think there was an artist that was in Nashville. I can't remember his name. Rockabye, I think, is the name of the song. But I think I read something where he was having a hard time getting a deal in Nashville, and when he wrote that song Rockabye and had his song in L.A., there's a line in it. It says when he moved to L.A., he said he realized it was kind of like Nashville but with a tan. I love that line because it really is. And Nashville has its constrictions to it, and it's just L.A. and Hollywood is just the same, but it's molded differently. Um, it's still very restricted in its own way for its writing purposes. As far as the writers go, there are different style of writers out in California, and that style of writing I appreciate. It let me know that you don't have to stay so technical in it all. Tell us the story of John Wayne and Jesus, I see. John Wayne and Jesus. I was about 15 or 16 years old when the song was presented to me. I was still living in, of course, in Mississippi, and I was working out of Nashville, Tennessee, and I had just signed a deal with a publishing company as a songwriter. And well, it was mainly to sign my songs, and they gave me a salary, so I was a legit songwriter at 15, I guess you could say, making money doing it. Strange, um, because I didn't really consider myself a songwriter, but I was definitely put around the professionals, surrounded me that were with the company, and I learned from a lot of those guys in the early years, and a couple of those guys that I learned to write with. Uh, One of them I lived with out there. God bless him. He had to put up with me at, I think, 16 or 17. I think I lived out there with him, he and his family. And his name, Nick Granada, anyway, great songwriter. And he has his own career, and you should check him out. Nick Granada. And Terry Bell, what a sweetheart and talented guy. And I haven't seen those guys in over, well, since I was 17. Do the math on that one. Um, so I wish them well. Those two guys presented me with a song that they wrote called John Wayne and Jesus. And at that time, and they were a writing team themselves on the side of their own careers and what they did, but they wrote that song and threw it my way, and I thought it was cool. I thought it was an awesome song. What a great positive message. To some of my Christian friends, they thought it was a little sacrilegious, kind of putting Jesus next to a human, John Wayne and Jesus in that sense, But you if anyone gets the message, they get what it's saying, and I thought it was a cute song and a good positive. And I grew up with John Wayne, and of course in the Christian church, and so it was a perfect fit for me. And you know, there's that. That's John Wayne and Jesus, and it wound up. I think I was 18 by that point, 17 or 18, whenever it went through the album, and the song mainly went through the Christian country music genre, and it won an award at the Ryman Auditorium. So when I was 17 or 18, I still can't remember. I think it was 18. I got to perform at the Ryman Auditorium for those awards, and I won an award called the Star of Tomorrow Award. No, I'll talk about awards later, some other time, maybe. People have a weird thing about awards, and I realized it even at that moment of winning such a thing. I mean, like, what is that, all of that? But anyway, we'll talk about that some other day. Let's see. That's John Wayne and Jesus' story. Are you ever going back to Biloxi? Renee says. Renee Levine. Um, is that right? Or Levine? Levine. I know it's tough for you because of your family being gone, but you still have a lot of fans that miss you. I hear you. It has been tough for me since my grandmother passed, and I've lost some other dear. It's been amazing this past year, guys. I can't explain to you the gravity, and I really don't want to, because it's that weight that I've been trying to lift off of me, and realize that I'm still alive, for God's sakes. But then I'm watching all these people dear to me. My grandmother is one that really just, I can't shake easily. But see how easy it is. See how easy it is. Just tuck it away. Put it down for now. But To come to Biloxi, I will. I will eventually. I don't really wanna get out right now. I'm trying to stay home and repair, my recent, flirt with death. Boy, I really was flirting with it, and I almost died. Um, a lot of lessons to be learned with that, and I'm learning, and I feel like I've wasted a lot of years, you know, and at least with my lack of awareness, and coming coming to trying to understand myself is where I'm at right now. And it's good. I'm in a good place. I'm not in a bad place. And when the moments come, they just come, and I deal with it. And I don't go to anything. I meditate, I pray, I get through it. But I'm in the sanctuary of my own home right now. Um, I have a date coming up to fly to Pennsylvania. It'll be the first time that I've been on a flight since I got out of the hospital. And I tell you, I'm scared. I'm not looking, I'll be real with you. It's the airport, it's the flying that I'm scared of. I'm the unknowns. Out of my experience through all my years of traveling, I tell you guys, anybody that knows airports will know what I'm talking about. It is just, it can be what it is, and the unknowns. And then those unknowns is what I'm afraid. But I'll get through it. I know I can, and I will. I'm not looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody there. I do have a blast on that Pennsylvania gig, so that part, it's just the airports. Get through all of that, and I'll be good. Get through all that without having a drink. So, and that will be the case. Um, no doubt. Get through it without my nerves, you know. That we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Anywho, I'm just rattling on, and I probably didn't answer that correctly. I will get back to Biloxi though. That's my home, and I don't know the recent turn of affairs and things that's happened and the events and everything. It just needs time for me and for things to just settle before I come back into that area of my life right now. But for everybody down there in Biloxi and along the Gulf Coast, I love you all very dearly. I miss you. I miss the food. I miss I miss the food. I miss the music, man. Trying to keep that music real over here, man. And I'm telling you, people love it when they just don't know about it. And all the years I've been playing out here, I realize I'm that guy that plays that music from that area. So as far as that goes, I'm keeping the Gulf Coast of Mississippi alive out here in Las Vegas, and that has been keeping me alive for over 20 years now here. So always take pride in where I'm from. I love it, and I love you guys, and I will get back down there. Um, let's see here. Poo, 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 poo. And I appreciate it, Renee. Thank you. Thank you. Um, all I can do is be bloody honest with you, and I hope I don't offend people from time to time with my honesty. I don't intend to do that with anyone. I don't want to hurt anyone any more than I have. I've hurt a lot of people, and I got a lot of working that out to do in life, and some of it's repairable, some of it is not. And I have to live with those things, but I want to stay positive about it. Half full is my glass in life. Um, and I figure I owe you guys, more explanations, but I want those to kind of come as you let what little bits I say to you sink in, bit by bit. For me, it's really I don't want to say so much that it would be careless of me in words orally, so much so that to be exploited upon from those who may not understand, you know, who may not understand what, I mean, everybody goes through their own life. Everybody is trying to figure out their way through this world, through this reality. And in my awakening or lack thereof, if you want to say, trying to wake up, I am going to the fundamentals of life and just asking the fundamental question, starting from there and not acting like I know. That's tough. That's difficult to do because I'm repeating everything that I've been told in life. And as much as I've been very adamant in my life to try to find what the truth is in whatever this life is, and that fundamental question, by the way, guys, what is this? What is experience? What is life? Who am I and who are you? And what is this all for? And if anybody really does believe they know the answer, I don't condemn them. I mean condone them. I really um have a lot of respect for anybody that really wholeheartedly believes they know. But for me, I have to start over, and I believe it's easier to believe in God than there is to believe in there isn't. Equal faiths on each side. I remain a bit agnostic in life, but my choice is to believe in God. My choice is to believe in God because there are morals in there that I read because I come not only from the Christian Judeo-Christian Bible, but I've been throughout my life studying that book. You'd be surprised how much I don't know about the Bible. Um, and I believe right now, during these times, that I need that those words more than probably anything, and I'm not trying to be religious or Christian on you guys. That is not where I'm coming from. I'm coming from a moral point of view. I'm seeing myself and the things that I've done and the way I've treated others. And I go, well, what are the laws that one should meditate on to try to correct themselves? I can go to different ideologies, and I have studied many, and many Judeo form, not just Christian, but Judaism itself, and even Islam. And okay, maybe that's the wrong philosophies, but when I'm studying and right philosophies, wrong philosophies, shall I say, whatever the philosophy, it's an ideology. So whatever, I tend to go towards, I'm studying humans, I'm studying myself in the end, when I'm studying God. Because if anything, when I'm studying God or gods, I love mythology and theology like crazy. Um, I really I see man, when I'm studying it. I don't look for religious, spiritual reasons. I think the spiritual guidance might come with it if I approach it to try to understand it fully. And the understanding part is difficult. I'm babbling on. Okay. And I tend to do that. Nobody here to tell me to shut up, Michael, except for you guys. Let's see. Oh, there's Gail. How you doing, Gail? Um, Don McGreevy introduced me. Yes. No, well, no, actually, well, Don was my manager at the time, but it was Bill Medley's daughter, McKenna Medley, who um, or McKenna Medley at the time. And then she came out and saw me. I don't know if she'd been out before and seen me. And I think yeah, we had met. Yes, that's what it was, on a break. And I had talked to her. I was playing at the Big Apple Bar in my 20s, and she came in with a group of people and introduced herself. I learned who she was, and I thought she was cool. I remember that, and then maybe she'd come back, whatever. And then she brought her dad, is what it was, one night, and her dad came in after a show, and that's when I got to meet him. I think I was, yeah, it was. I would think I was about 26, 27 years old. I have known Bill that long now. Yeah, wow. And so yeah, he came in and saw me, and I don't know. I was like, yeah, we kind of know each other. Don't know how. We were sort of the same people, different times and different places, and but same people. And that's the way I see Bill. He's like my dad of music. My no doubt. I mean, he is my mentor in music, where I go to, and in life. He's always been, since I've known him, and I love him, and I see him that way. When I met him, I couldn't believe, like, for a moment there, it's like, this is really happening. Bill Medley is like coming out to see me. And then Bill, before I went on the show and went and tried out for the show, Bill came out. I, I was playing, I was 29 at the time, I think, and I was playing at some little lounge, and he come in one night and he said, "Mike, why don't you just come on the road with me and play? Just get away for a minute. Just do some backup vocals, sing with McKenna. She's in the band." And I took him up on that, of course. And when I went out with him, boy, it was a blast too. Everybody I got to know in the band, and the people I got to know in the family, and I even took and uprooted out to Branson during the time. And I think I was there for a week, maybe two, but I think it was a week, because that same time I remember I was on the road with Bill Medley, and I was about to move into Branson, or no, I was probably already in Branson. I don't remember, but I was in Florida playing a gig with him, and Don McGreevy, I believe he was on the gig with me. For some reason, he was out there with me, and he had come to me and said, "Mike, got a call from America's Got Talent, and they're asking if you could be in Hollywood." And I'm like, "Well, yeah." And he's like, "But tomorrow," and I'm going, "Wait, okay, let's ask the boss and see what he says." And I just remember, to me, it's his famous words to me, and said, "Bill, what do I do?" And he looked at me and he goes, "Well, go, kid." That was how he said it. And so Don booked the flight, and that was that. And I was in Branson. I wound up going, I recorded the first taping. I didn't know I was going to be on the show. They didn't even tell me it was an actual show. Like, I thought it was another one of those cattle call things. And I waited and I waited. I had my number, and then I went in, and there were the judges. I was in the actual show I was on, and I was taken by that. That was so that when I did that, and then I got back to Branson after that. So I was in Branson at the time, because I got back to Branson, and we watched the first episode at Bill Medley's house. He had the TV on. Everybody's like, "Who watched?" And then we knew something was happening, because my Facebook, the moment the East Coast hour came up on the showtime of it, which we were, I think we were Mountain Time, maybe not, but Central maybe is Branson, I'm sure. Yeah, it crashed the Facebook. I sound like an old person. It crashed the Facebook, and we knew that something very interesting was about to happen. That was fun. That's my Bill Medley story. I have a bunch of Bill Medley stories hanging out with him, and the stories that he tells. I can't tell you a lot of those stories, guys. That's all I can tell you. I can't tell you. I have to take those to the grave with me. But that's all I can say about that. Um, let's see. Boo boo doo boo. Randy Jones says that was Sean Mullins. I'm sorry, I don't know who Sean. I don't know what he's replying to there. I am so stupid when it comes to stuff. If I didn't know the name of someone there, Randy, sorry. Sean Mullins, he says, was the name I guess I was looking for. Anyway, not much to bring to you guys. I am playing at Frankie's Uptown this Saturday. That's fun. I always love that place. Cool. I just go in, sit down, play, getting in, getting out. And yeah, other than that, I'm just working on my arc. I I put that aside. I put that aside right now. I'm working on some other projects, but one of which is a tablet I'm making of. You're going to think, see, this is how crazy I am. I'm making a tablet made of clay. It's going to sort of look like something like what you imagine, like a tablet, like the Ten Commandments, like the shape would be, right? The classic, what we know of, like that tablet shape. And I'm going to make it into clay, and I have engraved into copper some shenyus, or what you call cartouche, and I'm going to put them and inlay them, these copper cartouches, into this to this slab and see how it goes. It's really an experimental piece because I want to do something on a bigger scale. Um, so a lot of my experimentals are on right now. And you have to do the experimentals for many reasons. I notice through time, because if you go into a project not knowing what you're doing, okay, anyone that does that knows what I'm talking about. Mediums and stuff. Boy, you really have to know a little bit about chemistry to mess with mediums. Probably a lot about chemistry if you're messing with ancient mediums from the ancient times. Ancient pigments. Ancient pigments. That's an interesting thing. Recently, I went into a store, and somebody gave me a gift card to go to an arts and crafts store. And it was like a mom and pop place. And I thought I'd go and support it. No reason for me to get up and leave my house, really, but probably good for me to get out. um, I didn't want to leave the house. I could get everything from here. This, the times we're in, we don't have to leave. Food, anything. So I go and I figure I'll spend this for what reason? To get out of the house? I thought when I pulled up there, I went, oh, well, the only thing is the human experience, Mike. Hmm. Hmm. Well, I walk in, and I let them know I have this gift card, and I, you know, never been here. And they, you know, weren't doing anything. I asked if you knew where the pigments, if you had any pigments of any sorts, like I collect classic handmade pigments from around the world. And I guess I don't blame her. She didn't know what I was talking about. It's not typical art, but it is colors I'm talking about. So I thought, well, okay, is there a paint area? And she paints and paints. Yeah, there'll be down that aisle. And okay. So I turned around to do the grand tour, and I saw a shelf that said in big letters, pigment sticks. And by the way, guys, these are really cool. I'm gonna advertise these real quick, just so I can get an endorsement in case they see me. I don't do endorsements, by the way. Don't even try. Let's see. No, they're called R&E handmade paints, and they're pigment sticks. I don't know if you can see, they're pigment sticks, right? And these are like pastel oil sticks. They're really neat. They're very soft. And I got some of the precious colors. I got me an azure blue and like a lapis lazuli blue, which is really nice for the ancient colors and stuff. And as I'm at the counter and I'm checking them out, the guy, he was very charismatic and fun to talk to. Yes, if I found everything fine, and I told him about these handmade paints, and I said to him, and I said, "No, I was showing him just like I'm looking at it now." And as I was going across it, where did it say it? And it did, and I caught it that day, but somewhere on it, it says made in the USA. And I thought to myself at the counter, I said, "Oh yeah, there it is." And it says "Made in the USA" at the bottom, right there. Anyway, you get the point. And and I went, it's good to know, that we have, you know, artisans making artist supplies in our own backyard, because I have to order these from around the world, and that's what I explained to them. Good to know, because me myself, I'm in the world of art. I like to know other artists, and it's good to know other artists are doing keeping it alive here also, not just around the world, which I'll continue ordering from around the world because we don't do certain things here. Okay, so but the girl at the counter had to make a comment under her breath. I don't know why you have to take such pride in that, or something like that. I don't know why you have to be so proud of that. And I didn't say anything, but when I left, I thought to myself, the irony in all of this, what's going on in these times that we're in, and I'm not going to get all social and weird on you, but the girl, doesn't realize that, yeah, it may not be the best money or whatever, but it's a cool job. And, you know, you're talking to an artist here in America, in this country right here. I'm not talking political. I'm talking about your demographic, who you're selling to, who you're behind the counter selling to other artists here in this country, and yet, you have a problem with that. It's weird, because it's like, okay, her political side of this seems to be so much hate going on that it stands in her own way, and she doesn't even see it, because to put down the artist in America is to put down your own job that you're working at the art store, unless you're just gonna, I guess, not have American made products if she owned it. I don't know, but it's a shame. It's a weird thing going on right now, and I'm not going political. I'm saying that she doesn't realize that robots are about to take her job, and they are. They are. There's there's robots at the House of Blues. I'm not kidding. Waiting tables. I don't know if you guys seen this or not. Michael has not lost his mind completely building an ark, and now he's talking about robots. Guys, I'm not kidding. They go, well, we call it AI now. Yeah, we used to call it robots. And I'm talking about literally mechanical silicon material, metal, digital, electronic, moving physical robots in the House of Blues waiting tables. My dad said he doesn't go to a certain place anymore um, because they've changed their staff out for robots now, waiting tables. And you go, oh, this is just a fad. This is just a thing. Guys, no, no, no. AI is about to start taking a lot of jobs. And you can be, she can go on about, this country and be all political as she wants, that girl at that craft store, but she doesn't wake up and realize that, um, yeah, business owners aren't going to want her running their business or behind the counter, but that's all they have to take. They're slim pickings right now because of the weird times we're in. And I have had no luxuries in my life. My life is based on uncertainty, guys. I live in an uncertain life, not like, oh, everybody does. I'm not a 9 to 5er. I don't live in that world. I'm self-contracted. That is day to day. I'm always trying to find a new job. Where am I going to work next? And that's never ending. Um, and there's no big bank account somewhere. So it's not like that. Nothing's come easy. And, and in that, I'm just going to say, for everybody else, life is not easy. It doesn't come easy. Get out and work while you can. It seems like it's inevitably going to happen as AI keeps coming up everywhere with taking over. We are entering what they call the singularity of technology. Look it up, type in singularity of technology. You'll see a a formula that a man named Gordon Moores came up with that goes with this called um, I think it's called the Moore's Law. It's um, it's where it says that every 2 years processing room doubles. Now, if you do the math on that, it doesn't take. I'm not good with math, and I can tell you how that turns out. And you can keep doing it. 1 is 2, 2 is 4, 4 is 8, 8 is 16. You keep doing that. That's how that works, and then that happens every 2 years. So we're going into the singularity. And the singularity, by the way, guys, just so you know, in its definition only means that we do not know at a certain point in time and space, before or after. So that's all that means, basically, is we don't know. And going into this where AI is starting to become, uh, I hate to say the word, more intelligent. I don't want to say the word aware, but more intelligent. Um, it's going to get really interesting. It's those unknowns that the singularity is about. Check it out. It's not a religion. It's not some weird concept. It is a fact, and we are going into it. And if you deny it, then that's weird in itself. But I'm here to tell you it is happening. We are here, whatever you want to look at it as. Some Christians say, oh, it's the sign of the times, the Antichrist, the 666, the computers, and all of this. I don't know. I don't know. I don't really go with prophecies and all of that, but I'll go with it, sure. Um, Whatever's happening, it's happening. And I tend to leave everything on a grim note. I don't know why I do that, but I do. I do want you, if you're into art, check out these R&E pigment sticks, guys, while they're around. I'm not sure how long they're going to last. I know Copic markers. I thought they were the thing, man, when I was into Copic. Neil Portnoy, if he's listening, he knows what I'm talking about. And now they're just like gone. They just went off the shelves. They were like bam in front of your face, and they work great. And I still have Copics, man. And what Copics I have, I'm like sniffing them the best I can to get what I can out of them because they're gone. Anyway, let's see. That's me in the art world, and I am doing some other stuff with music, and that's pretty much all I have for you at the moment. I mean, my mind's always somewhere. Let's see. So, so I hear you, Marlene Berger. Yes, well, I mean, anybody would agree with that, you would think, right? I mean, if she saw, but she was a young girl. I was assuming maybe at best 20, maybe. So young people don't understand quite yet what's going on. And in these days, man, in this time that we're in, to come up in these times is something I cannot imagine. And it's hard for me to imagine. I mean, I know I'm coming up in I'm alive in the times right now, but to be raised while my brain is developing with the internet and the social media, that wasn't around for me growing up. I never had that. The moment I turned 18, everybody for some reason had a computer in their homes. I'm like, what? I mean, it was literally happened like that. Like the moment I left school. Actually, it was the end of my 18th year. I remember everybody getting computers at 19. That was what year was it? 90. That would have been, oh, I don't know. That was like 97 or 98. But yeah, going into 2000. And I still didn't have a computer until like 2005. And then the one that I got was some old rinky dinky computer that was out of date during that time, could barely get on the modem. And yeah, boy, wow. Didn't grow up with the computer. People go, well, Michael, there's the times are changing, and with the times you're supposed to change. I believe in progression. I'm all about progressing. Believe you me. I think that is inevitable. It's going to happen. But you can't just progress and just call progression and call immoral behaviors progression. Let's just go with that. And then what is considered immoral, you know? But that's discussions that should be brought up, that needs to be talked about, because nobody is. Nobody's bringing up any morals. I'm looking at my own morals right now and lack thereof in my life. And then I'm looking around me going, oh, don't start throwing stones, Michael. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Start checking yourself before you do any of that, man. But I can't help but say that the world is in a bad state right now. And a lot of people are very misinformed, very confused because of this, what you're watching me on, of my hypocrisy as I talk to you through the blue panda. That's my term for the internet in all of its forms. The blue panda, worship the blue panda. I try to take days away from the blue panda, because to me, in my years of studying in theology alone, that alone, and in studying like ancient Egypt and the Sumerian cultures, the Akkadian cultures, early cultures of that time, and I'm seeing a big similarity going on with one particular time during between, let's talk about Egypt, for example, like the 18th dynasty, moving on into the 19th dynasty. That's a good 500 years there. We're talking about this monotheism starting to rear its head, through, you see it happening in Egypt, you see it happening through, of course, Canaan. We hear it throughout the Bible, but we hear of all of how much of this lawlessness that was going on, and all of these gods that they were worshiping. I mean, they had a god for anything and everything. The Sumerian culture had a god named Sin. You can say sin, sin, and that god was the god. He was a I read about him. He was a lunar god, and he was for harvesting good fruit, healthy fruit of all things, right? But if you betrayed sin, he would they would know the betrayers of sin, because the betrayers of sin had leprosy, and they would have what we call today epilepsy. But mind you, think about that back in the days. Anyway, so that was the god Sin, and that's where we get the word from, and those sort of things. So we look at people in general back then, how they were worshiping all of these gods for different reasons, and out of control is what it was. And even people like Akhenaten, who was a pharaoh of Egypt at the time, understood that it was a little chaotic having so many gods, that there needs to be more control. And that time period, there were many that were trying to fight for their one God theory. In the end, we see one God named Yahweh. I'm not supposed to say his name. Please don't take I but anyway, that name that become Jehovah. Um, but we see the laws that this man Moses, or the culture, put together for this wild behavior, as and I see something similar in the way it's echoing. Is it today it feels very similar in my studies, because this thing that we are using right now, I call the blue panda, acts just like an altar at your homes, and you have one at your businesses. That's what altars are. If you study any religion, the altars are at your home and office. If you can't go to the temples, but for this one, it is a whole different thing. And I will say, guys, we are dealing with something that is causing the lawlessness and the immoral behaviors of people, and it, or not causing it, it brings it maybe to the surface more and invites it more, and this, something needs to be done about it in some way, some sort. And I don't want to say control over it, because I believe in my First Amendment, but I think that there needs to be some sort of control over it. There does need to be, in some way, especially with the way it's affecting us socially. You think social media would be a better thing in that sense? I don't know. I don't know that much about social media. This is the best of it that you're going to get from me. I don't even get on looking for anything, commenting or anything. I don't do that. I'm sorry. Sometimes my wife will bring me some comments that she might find, or my managers, and I'll reply and they'll send that back. But I purposely try to stay away. This is my one time of the week that I will dedicate to you guys to get on for whatever it's worth for you. And and I won't always babble on like this. And next time I'll talk about Babel and Babylon, and why we babble, and the really interesting finds of Babylon recently in Iraq. That's really fun. Anywho, I guess if I can do anything to go out with a bang here, let's do a song. Ooh, let's tune. How about that? How about that? It was great having Lenny Lopez last week over here, and Bruce Wallace. Always have a blast with those guys. Always. They're like family to me. They are family. And us musicians, we're such an odd group of people when you look at us, right? So never judge a book by its cover, please, because especially when it comes to musicians, but learn from musicians. Musicians tend to be very, what others say, open-minded. I don't know about all that, but I guess so. But we look at life tend to differently. Let's see. Try to find a good spot here. I had it in mind there. Oh, here you go. All right. It's a song by Travis Tritt. All around I hear the sound of money, but I ain't got a nickel to my name. And everywhere I look, I see temptation. She stands on every corner and calls my name. So won't you tell me if you can, 'cause life's so hard to understand. Why's the rich man busy dancing while the poor man plays the band? Lord, they're building me for killing me. Lord, have mercy on the working man. He's got his hands in my pocket, and he helps himself each time he needs a dime. Them politicians treat me like a mushroom, 'cause they feed me shit and keep me in the blind. So won't you tell me if you can, 'cause life's so hard to understand. Why's the fat man busy dancing while the thin man plays the band? Lord, they're billing me for killing me. Please, Lord, have mercy on the working man. Please, Lord, have mercy on the working woman. I never knew what to do at the end of a song sometimes. I'm like, do you hold it? Do you just hold it? Go off in my mind, just kind of think for a moment. What do you got to pick up for groceries when you go home? Let it go. Let it go. You just got to let it go. Anyway, all right, guys. That is it. That's my song for you. I love you. I'll see you later. I'm trying to put my guitar. Okay. All right. All right. See you. See you. Love you all. God bless.